sure. Yes. All right, you're live.
Good.
Yep.
All right. Hey, folks. How's it going? It's Karyn Bryant, and I am here with my dear friend Lars Wallin. We are... Say hi.
Hi.
We're here in Stockholm, Sweden. As you guys know, MMA H.E.A.T came over here to cover UFC Sweden. And Lars, you are, in fact, Swedish.
Yes.
So here's the deal. As you may know, I'm working with Fuel TV on this broadcast and for the next couple of shows for them. So that means I won't necessarily be able to do all of the post-fight interviews tomorrow night. So, Lars, you are going to do some of it for us.
I'll pick it up.
Okay, so I should tell people, everybody knows that my husband Wade, who's right here, trains full contact 4 times a week, bro. 4 times. And many of those times, all of those times, in fact, he's training with you.
Yeah.
Give a little background. Tell the people why you're, and I'm just busting because we're good friends, but why you seriously are legit in terms of knowing about MMA and being able to report on it.
Well, I went to America in 91 and I went with the Gracies right away before it was even a sport, UFC. I was with Royce from the beginning of it, and I trained with the family for 15 years at the Gracie Academy, and I see this sport develop. There was nothing going on when I left. When I came back, I can see for every year things are happening more and more and more, and now Sweden is there.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. You know, this is definitely a historic event, obviously.
Yes, it is.
The thing sold out in 3 hours, and apparently at the time, because I don't remember the timeline of everything, but apparently, you know, they hadn't even announced who the main event was going to be. It was just that you guys wanted some MMA,
Yeah,
right?
we wanted so badly. I mean, we're the biggest fans in the world, probably, of MMA.
Really? That's
I'm
bigger
serious.
than Brazilian fans?
Bigger than Brazil. I'm saying. Brazil has legitimate fighters and fights and so on. Sweden are good. They have good fighters, but they never had a playground to show it, to showcase their skills.
Right.
And because we are the IKEA people, we never really got invited as the bad
and you never
Russians.
You never have enough screws and washers.
No, but there's quality fighters in this country like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
You go to any little school in this country and you'll find top world-class fighters. There's at least a dozen of guys in here that can challenge on any title, any weight class, even at the UFC.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, now that's interesting that you say that. Tomorrow night, you know, there are actually several Swedish fighters on the card, and I know that there are, you know, it is a close community, and while certainly there's probably rivalries and things like that,
Much so, yeah.
for the most part, you guys kind of all know each other, though, right?
They do, but it's also Swedish pride. You know, in Sweden, you don't want to be bragging about yourself. You're more the silent type.
Are you sure you're Swedish then? Because
Well, I'm not very Swedish. That's why I moved out of the country. But I'm saying there's a lot of Swedes here, and they don't talk a lot. They train very hard, and they've been training out of the limelight for 10, 15 years. Never got the credits. Never got the limelight shown on them. But they're there. They're ready. They've been ready for a long time. You know, and it's about time that the world gets to see it.
Well, good. And here's the thing. So tomorrow night, while I'm a little busy, I might be able to do some of the things. But you'll be taking over, and you know you really know the ins and outs of the sports. I mean, you've been doing this for years. But as an MMA fan, I mean, are you psyched to be going to the show? Because you know, I know sometimes you might be a little cynical, and you're like,
I'm very cynical.
I know you are, but at the same time, you have to understand that this is. I mean, it's a pretty big deal.
I just don't see it as a sports deal. For me, I see it to end. It has to end with a knockout or submission. You know, points are for pussies. Basically, that's where I'm from. So I sometimes fade out when the sport becomes about points and taking down and edging some round out with a takedown. I like when people go all out. I don't give a shit if you lose or win, but when people put their heart in there, after all the years of training, after countless of hours of training, you don't want to go in and just fizzle out in some fucked up way that. Only the heart.
I told you no swearing.
Sorry, in some blurby way. So basically, I enjoy any guy who fights and puts it on the line.
Well,
and Swedes will do that.
No, I was just going to say when I spoke with Reza Madadi the other day.
Oh yeah,
that's what he says. He says, "Listen, I'm a finisher. You know, I'm the same way." Yeah, he said, "I'm not there for points. I want to put on a show." And he said, "I am a finisher."
Yeah, you can see it with Alexander Gustafsson. You can see it with. Jürgen Krut, unfortunately, won't be on this show, but he would have shown it also. 2-time world champion Muay Thai. There's Akira Kurosami. There's a whole bunch of guys here just waiting.
Right. Do you know anything? Do you know much about Magnus Cedenblad?
Yeah, very good guy.
Is he?
Yuken, also his nickname is the dog.
Okay.
Fantastic fighter. There's a lot of tall, lanky
Yes,
fighters.
he is.
They don't look like they're very powerful, but they have fantastic stand-up. Because Sweden, like Holland and Denmark, has a great tradition of stand-up. Muay Thai, world class.
Yeah.
And on top of that, for the last 15 years, when no one has been watching, they've been really into grappling.
Right.
And I've been here giving seminars for 15 years, so I know. They're strong. You look at the world's strongest man. They always have a Scandinavian last name.
Yes, it's
They
always good.
say,
Right.
They are that strong, and they're silent. They don't want to toot their own horn too much, and so they're hard to sell maybe for the UFC because they're not really marketing themselves.
Right, okay,
but
right.
as fighters, they're not there for the to edge it out on points. They're there to knock the crap out of the guy or to submit him, and they're skilled standing or on the ground.
Well, I have to say, I'm looking forward to that fight with Magnus. He's fighting Francis Carmon, who is from GSP's camp, who I know you're probably not a fan of because you don't know GSP. Oh, you do?
I am.
You like him?
I am, very much so.
Okay,
yeah.
good. But I know that Papi Abedi is somebody that a lot of people are looking forward to. You know, Papi do a really tough card. He fought Thiago Alves.
Yeah.
You know, first time out. I mean, you know, that's a tough call. Got submitted, but I have a feeling that he probably wants to prove a lot in front of the home crowd. But you're telling me that the guys we're going to see tomorrow night are going to be aggressive.
Yes.
And they're going to look for the finish.
I'll put it this way, very shortly. MMA for me is still in evolution. It's still evolving. And any guy who goes in and plays it safe for a takedown and so on, that bores me very much. But when you see new moves, people try new skills, and there's a lot of submissions that people haven't seen yet. When you see, or knockouts from weird angles and so on. When you see that makes it exciting for the fans. And the Swedes, they're pretty comfortable in themselves. They will do that. They will hang everything out there. They're not going to go in and just try to win they don't care if they win or lose. I guarantee you that. Every Swede I know is only caring about one thing, a knockout or a submission. And if it goes against them, so be it. And that's how they are. They're tough.
Well, and I have to say, too, that this week, Alexander Gustafsson has seemed so chill and so relaxed.
He is.
Do you think that's an overriding or a common trait, I should say, among Swedes?
It's a Swedish mentality. We're the only country not involved in the Second World War in Europe. We are very mellow. We make IKEA furniture and play ABBA music. But
ABBA's not good.
But piss us off.
ABBA is not good.
But if you piss us off, we will come to your country like the Vikings.
Take over. And
We're really very stubborn people, but there's a complex in Swedes.
Yeah.
We have a complex. We can't brag about ourselves. You're not supposed to be better than anyone.
Okay.
Officially. Right. But you want to be your best. So these guys have trained hard. They're ready for it. I would say the weakness would be takedowns. Wrestling is not the Swedish tradition as strong.
Right. Well, that's actually very interesting with Gustafsson because he lost to Phil Davis, who we all know is a D1 amazing wrestler. Yeah. The smart thing about Alexander is he went and trained with Phil Davis for the fight.
That's right.
He's a smart guy. So listen, it looks like, Lars, that we've got some questions over here.
Yes.
It says, this is really interesting. Live interviews. They don't broadcast interviews like this on the regular newscast. That's right, Mojuk771. Boom.
We're not regular guys.
Yeah.
And this one's because if you Google
what the F. This guy is a fashion designer. Thanks, Lars.
If you Google your name,
I love that.
Oh, is your name?
On my spare time, I make wedding gowns.
Is there a Lars Wallin?
Yeah, there is one more Lars Wallin that is known in my country, and he's a wedding designer, wedding gown designer. It's awesome. I get free hotels all the time to check out my website, and they think I'm that guy, but it's not me. I know I look like it, but it's not me.
Folks, I should say this. It's interesting. If you are in Los Angeles ever, or Lars does do seminars around the world. But what I think is so great about you, and I personally don't train with you, but Wade, my husband, does train. He likes that you are unconventional and that you understand that there are some root moves in BJJ, but that there's always room for personalization and tweaking.
Oh, still. Yeah? This is what makes this sport exciting. It's still at the cradle. It's still in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And you can take the knowledge. I call it Jiu-Jitsu 3.0.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to try to show the world also eventually. Mm-hmm. Is that there's so much. You take the knowledge you have of what people have done so far and you evolve it into something else. Okay. That makes it exciting.
Right.
When you see the first time you saw Darcy choke, the first time you see a new move, you get freaked out. It's like, whoa, I've been spending years and I haven't thought of that before. Right. But they're there. And for guys that train hard every day and not afraid of losing and not afraid of tapping, they're just simply getting better every time they train. They will eventually push this further, just like the Gracies did. Mm-hmm.
You gotta.
Okay, wait. Swedes equals crazy. Who is that? Boomer says. That's so funny.
Swedes.
Oh, we couldn't find some hot Swedish chicks. Here's the thing.
Wow, I got boobs.
Lars can find hot chicks wherever he goes. The guy's like a magnet. I swear to you. And don't think we have. Listen, we put up. If you look at the YouTube MMA H.E.A.T channel, we have Sheik Congo, Tito Ortiz, and Jake Shields training a bunch of Swedish bloggers.
Yeah.
There's some babes over there. So when we're done with this, you guys need to go check that out. But
everyone is a blogger in Sweden, so you know.
Yeah, what is the deal with the blogging?
No. Any girl over 15 and under 40 has her own blog. I don't know how it works, but they all have it. I don't know what it is.
Does anybody read them?
It could be. Today I had a big muffin at Starbucks, but they have 50,000 people. Yeah.
So here's the thing, Lars. I want to ask you this, and we're not going to go too long on this, but I know you are, and you'll see this tomorrow night, folks, when Lars is going to be doing some interviews for us for MMA because I'll be busy with Fuel. But Lars, I know that you definitely have an 3 mistakes that you feel people make in certain moves, maybe when they're in the guard,
right.
maybe when they're whatever. Top 2-3 moves that you think people do wrong where they could potentially, win a fight in a place where they think they can't. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome question.
Yeah.
First thing I would say, I'm not a stand-up expert, so I wouldn't argue, any details there. But on the ground, one of the things that I still believe that we're just in the beginning of it is that you have rear naked chokes, you have guillotines, you have different submissions. But you want to take it to the next level. When someone is defending the guillotine, instead of struggling, getting tired in your arms,
right.
you might go for a neck crank. There's many other things you can do. And what I hate to see is when someone...
So you're saying for the person holding the choke?
Yeah.
Okay.
When they go for a guillotine and the
Right.
guy's defending and he puts his neck down,
Right.
that makes you be able to put your hand in his armpit. And now you have a neck crank and you can end the fight. But people have a tendency to get stubborn and stick to those traditional moves instead of evolving it further.
Right.
And what I'm into seeing is people that dare to try to take it further.
Okay.
Nick Diaz is one of those
I was just
guys.
going to say.
He's very relaxed and
yeah.
can't come from nowhere and
Right.
pull something off.
Right.
And that excites me.
I always feel like Nick can think a couple moves ahead.
Oh, yeah. So this is what I'm looking for. And I'm hoping to see that. And I know the Swedes have, because they trained away from the limelight for a long time, they have an arsenal of moves that may not have been seen before.
I know when you hope to see them, you hope to see them tomorrow night.
Yes,
And I
indeed.
know you have a pet peeve about guys crossing their legs.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Well, when you think with strength, you have a tendency to try to want to capture your opponent. But what you should do instead, you should relax and allow your opponent to move, to try to get out. That opens up for more submissions opportunities.
Okay.
And when you see a guy on the bottom
Right.
being ground and pounded, and he keeps having his legs crossed on his opponent,
Behind his back,
keeps
right,
ground and
okay.
pounding him, he is failing. Because what he's doing is he's holding
Holding
the
the
guy
guy in.
so
He
you
should
stay
open the guard.
to pound him. Open
Okay.
the guard, use your legs, spin your hips, move your hips more. Be like shifting
more
shapes
fluid, yeah, okay,
all the time.
okay.
And when you do that, it becomes very uncomfortable to be the aggressor. If you're side-mounted on a guy who keeps moving, you might have more submissions coming at you than you can do to the guy.
So, but then why are so many people taught to close guard and to do that? I mean, I understand the philosophy of, maybe pulling the guy close and cutting that distance so they can't drop the bombs.
Yeah.
But why do you think so many people are taught that technique instead?
I think it's like this. A certain percent of people actually try to take it further. But most people try to just prove the skills they've been taught.
Okay.
And that's not evolution.
Right.
So if you have 90% of people coming in with the same triangle, the same moves, the same guillotine, the other guy has also practiced that for 10
Right.
years. It's going to neutralize each other. They're not going to get anything coming
Right.
from that, except that the guy's going to get tired and then ground and pound it out.
Right.
If the guy on the bottom learns to actually be okay with being on the bottom and move his hips, and he can evolve that way and find submissions from positions where the other guy hasn't even seen them yet.
Right.
And if you haven't seen something, you'll walk into it. If you practice, you see a guy with ears like this is a wrestler who's been in 5 million guillotines in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
He's not going to go, wow, what is this when you catch him in a guillotine?
Right.
You switch it into something else, he might actually walk into something.
Right.
So what I like to see is the guy that has the balls enough and the calmness to actually think on the bottom and relax and be playful, not just freak out and hold on.
Right. And I also and I also want what let's have Lars Wallin has Lars Wallin had any MMA fights under his belt? does he instruct any known MMA fighters?
Yeah, I instructed a few. Perry Eklund was the first Swede in UFC. You have Eddie Sanchez. I've been with H.E.A.T for 15 years, the Gracies. You name it. There's a lot of guys coming down my way when I'm training. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't make me better. Good for them. Sorry. But the interesting part is that I just really think that if you have a 20-year-old ego and you just want to prove yourself good, there's too much at stake and you won't dare to play around.
You need to have humility. I believe you need that.
You need that. And I believe a real champion is a guy who loses and comes back and has evolved further.
Well, listen,
Anderson Silva for a long time was a phenomenal stand-up and kicker and so on. He didn't lost in weird ways. Then he got the confidence, and now it's unpredictable because the confidence is what it's missing.
Well, no, and you know that's what several champs have said. You know, the reason I know I'm a champ is because I can fall and rise again. And I really think you're right. I mean, that's about heart.
As fans, I don't think we should be too judgmental if someone is losing, if they're really trying to win.
Okay, now I have another question for you. I know you have a little bit of history with August Wallin, who, if you guys look at my channel, you'll see we did an interview with him the other day. He's the president now of the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation. Yes. And I'm laughing a little only because I know you have a lot to say about this.
It'll be a good fight.
Here's the question. No, but here's the question. Yes, Wallin versus Wallin.
Both getting older.
The question is from Demand4226. Do you think August Wallin's goals for MMA is good or bad? It seems to be making MMA like the United Nations. I don't know, in a nutshell, basically. His aspirations are to get MMA into the Olympics, to have a unifying federation that would help each individual country. You're so not into it.
No,
have a governing unifying board.
All right, I'll be saying it this way. I'm not into anyone running a sport with billions or millions at least of people so far. I'm not into one person having their way.
But it's a federation of individuals.
Yes, but if it comes from a group of people that have an open mind and try to lift everyone up, that's different than one person trying to control everyone for personal gain. So I'm not saying anything about this particular person. I'm just saying I don't want it to go the way of boxing when you have a few shady people, promoters corrupting things. I like this sport to be for the I mean, when you spend that much time on the mat, in the gym, fighting, punching, so on, you shouldn't be robbed of your chance to prove who you are because you're under someone who has a complete ego.
Here's what I'm going to say this, folks, and really we need to wrap it up because I still have not had dinner and I'm going to get really mean soon. But what's funny about the Swedish MMA scene, and I did say this before, it's small, it is intimate.
It's very hardcore.
But at the same time, I was just going to say there's a lot of politics here. And
you don't know that. It's a lot of gangsters. It's more gangster than America. They're looking up to America. They're watching Scarface every day. They want to be killers. These people are mean. They mean business.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The good thing about that is it's a small community, but you guys all have, I think, a unifying purpose in.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? Really wanting to show the world.
We have a Napoleon complex. Yeah. With a little country, we just don't want to be run over anymore. We want to put it on the map, you know. I would say, for entertainment purposes, Swedes needs to be more entertaining, more fun, and so on.
You're quite entertaining.
But it sucks that we all have to be the Viking, the last, the final.
But you say that, and then every other kid is named Thor.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have a Thor.
And you, I mean, do you know what I'm saying? It's like methinks the lady doth protest too much. You can't say you don't want this and then yet keep perpetuating the story.
Yeah, I'm double standards.
All right, who's a racist? Are you?
Oh, I'm a racist. Of course, I'm a racist. Here I'm sitting with my white girlfriend. Super racist.
No, but some people have.
Because they have a Thor hammer, yeah.
Right, so what's the deal with that? Because I had no idea.
Yeah, the Thor hammer, it's almost like if the Nazi movement tried to take the McDonald's sign, and the next thing you know, McDonald's is racist because they have that symbol. This has been around for thousands of years. These are Vikings. They weren't necessarily racist. But in the last 20 years or so, there's been extreme skinhead bands and so on. They've been using Viking symbols. I didn't do it for that reason. I did it because honoring my family.
Listen, I can tell you for a fact that Lars is
not racist.
He's an equal opportunity lover.
I love all girls.
I was just going to say.
And I hate all guys equally. Yeah. All races.
No, I had no. I mean, listen. I know you for years, so I can guarantee you, people, he's not a racist.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I have my black friend
what's
here.
This? I'm not even that black. It's like
no, she's not.
Really, I'm a mix of everything. Yeah. What is this? There was one. Okay, Lars. Did you mention submissions that aren't well known? Can you mention a few, and then we're gonna wrap this up here. So what? Yeah.
I can mention a whole bunch of them. One arm chokes from all kinds of weird angles. When you're on the back, I really hate to see when someone has the back mount and they're either crossing the legs or they're right behind the person, because the only thing you have there is the rear naked choke.
Why don't you want the guy? If I've got you, you, and I'm looking to like sink my hooks in, but I don't get him. Instead, I cross my legs. Why is that bad?
Whether you cross them or not, I can leg submit you. It doesn't matter if you have them open, to be honest with you. I don't like the fact that you have your hooks on my body, because I can catch those toes.
Okay.
What I would like to see is people spinning a little bit to the side. Have your head next to the guy's shoulder, because what happens then is you open up for arm bars, chokes, reverse triangles, all kinds of stuff. I can probably put on 15, 20 submissions from the back mount. And if you look at the average MMA fighter, when they're back mounted, they always go for the rear naked choke.
2 or 3 things, right?
And that makes it very predictable for the other guy.
Okay.
He can just tuck his chin in, take a few poundings, so you can't be punched in the back of the head, and then they're out. But if you have to defend 15, 20 things happening, you might walk into something.
So you just want them to shift the guy a little and then open up some of
I always believe the hip positioning is everything.
Okay.
Hips is very they're not talked about enough.
Right. Okay.
Because how you move your hips as a submission artist sets up your submissions without having to be super flexible. And if you have a guy who's a good grappler on your back and he's right behind you, he's somehow failing in my mind. Okay. Because it's
too
limited.
Linear,
It's limited. If you instead spin to the side a little bit, you set up a whole series of things that can happen.
Well, you can also free up arms for Kimuras. You can also do
and the guy here has more to worry about. Both arms are in danger, triangles, chokes, so on, and he can't defend them all. But when you only have to defend one thing, most professional guys who does this every day for a living know how to defend it.
Interesting. Here, let's see. Have you ever used the camel clutch?
The camel toe? What's that?
Camel clutch on an opponent.
I never heard of that, but
cool
name.
I don't know.
It
says, or is it only good in wrestling? I personally don't have a Eddie. I personally don't have a wrestling background, so I don't know what a camel clutch is.
No, me neither. Could it be something like this? I don't know what that is, so I'm not going to argue.
Okay.
For or against it.
All right. So
but I want to say this though.
I think you should demonstrate when you cross your feet.
Well, how are we going to do that?
Just on the ground right here.
You would
have
to do it. I'm not doing it. Okay, here we will. We'll do this. And first and foremost, here's the thing. 2 things. We'll do the leg crossing, but first, Lars, I love your technique for getting out of a choke. Lars has this great technique. Basically, what it is that you want to sink your chin in between the 2 bones of a forearm, right? I guess. And so, how does this work? And basically, you're telling me
if weight goes for me here,
right.
For a rear naked choke.
Okay.
First of all,
make sure you're still in the shot here.
If the guy is right behind me, I know what's coming. It's the rear naked choke.
Right.
And if the arm is coming here,
make sure we're in position.
Yeah. Hold on one sec. Let's just make sure that
there's a little bit of a delay, so we want to make sure we're in the camera.
Okay.
When the arm is not completely in,
right,
you naturally put your head down anyway, right? He's still going to fight to get it in there, but it's not completely in.
Right.
At this point, I bite my teeth down as much as I can on my mouthpiece, and I look for the middle point between the wrist and the elbow.
Okay.
Here's where the nerves are.
Right.
This is where it's hard. It's not soft tissue muscle.
Okay.
I grab my own head and I point down on it. And that's going to make him not want to even continue that. If he gets it in here to try to struggle, it's going to make me go out. If I simply drop my shoulder this much and just pop 10 degrees this way, I will punch him in the rib just enough to free this side. There's no choke anymore. I don't have to actually turn around and get in the guard. So being relaxed and practicing these things can allow you to come up with new things. That's what I was trying to show there.
Well, no, that's very good. All right, I understand that because I know that is actually really effective because even just messing around,
it hurts.
No, it hurts.
And if you tell the guy you're going to do it, of course he can prepare for the impact. But if it comes out of nowhere,
how big was that Argentinian dude?
285 pounds, yeah.
Big, and you made him cry like a little baby.
Yeah, but yeah.
You just separate the bones and.
If you allow someone to think about what's going to happen, he's going to override his reflex with this pure aggression.
Sure.
But if it comes as a shock, this pain, it's a reflex to get away from the pain. And what you need to do is you need to be very quick and explosive in your attacks when it comes to pain. And then he will override all the knowledge this guy has, and he will react with instinct.
Right.
That's what you want. But if you go slowly and get the guy used to it, he will eventually get used to it, and he can take the pain.
Interesting.
So being comfortable, actually, power slows you down. The more relaxed you are, it can come from nowhere, and the guy can't read you as you're moving. If I'm moving without power, it's hard for you to read how I'm moving.
Right.
When I move with power, you can follow every move I do.
You can tell where the body is
and most
going.
fighters, believe it or not, they're tough people. They can take some pain.
Right.
So if you ask them to take pain, they can take that. But the shock that forces them to react with instinct will always try to take them away from the pain.
But that, not even reverts back to whole Bruce Lee thing. Be
I'm
like
going to
water.
give you one more.
Be like water.
One more on you.
Okay, yes.
If you go for the guillotine, you see, whether you're standing or on the ground, and you reach for the throat.
Right.
This is how it's done all the time.
Right.
The guy can take this and they work around it. If I simply pull my hand back and put my thumb knuckle in your soap cup under your jaw, and then I pull your head towards me here, it's done. You wouldn't last 2 seconds there.
That would really...
And I do this with very tough guys.
That's a place in your body that has a lot of nerves.
Yeah, it's not even a choke, it's a pain. But
Yeah.
it's so intense and it comes so surprisingly quick that you have
No, that is a very
preparation for it.
jarring feeling.
And you should mention his background in kinesiology.
No, well, yes, okay, well, you just did.
I'm
so
a
I
physical
don't-
therapist, and this is what I've done for 20 years.
He's a physical therapist. He's a man who's very hands-on, if you know what I'm saying.
Very
with the,
hands-on.
with the ladies. Here's the thing. I was going to say, I recommend men don't send your ladies to train with Lars because he's got a reputation. But you know what? Here's the thing. We're gonna wrap this up. But
just the leg cross. You gotta show that.
You want? Are we
That
gonna? How are we gonna
something.
do this?
You just bring the computer forward and aim it on the ground. Right.
Okay. Well, look at me. And now
You're going on the ground.
All right. We're doing one last thing.
They have to see because this is such a great.
Okay.
Just sit on the table here.
Is it gonna work?
Yeah. Just sit right here.
All right, folks.
Yeah,
We're
we aim it
freestyling,
down.
and I'm so hungry.
Are you sure that's gonna work?
You guys, you're killing me. I'm so hungry. Let's see.
All right, let's
There's
go.
a little delay. Oh, that's a great shot.
Well, you can hold it.
I might be better if I hold it. Wait, no. Let's see, folks. Sorry,
might be
bear
better if you
with
hold it.
us.
Hold it.
Bear with us.
Wait, hold.
It's called a laptop.
It is a laptop. But I need to. What do I do here? Do I close?
Just watch that one. That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
So here we go.
If you cross your legs, but this is not unknown, but if you cross your legs, I obviously have very easily can catch your feet and break them. So then you've been taught in school not to cross your legs, but still to keep the hooks here. But I can still simply put one arm over one knee, fall to one side, catch your leg, and twist it just like a heel hook. And it will do the same thing. It will just end the fight right there. So I recommend not to cross your legs, spin so much that you're actually almost on the side. Now you have my arm, you got guillotines, you got rear naked chokes. Under. You got arm bars, you got reverse triangles, you can bring your leg up over my shoulder, you got everything going here. Way more of an arsenal to attack with than if you're right behind me.
Okay.
And still in MMA I see people who are right behind. I hope one day to see more people being
Well,
on
you
the
see them
side.
crossing their legs all the time.
Yeah, and the crossing of the leg is because they're power guys and they're not really comfortable here. This is what it tells me. You're not comfortable here. If you were comfortable,
Show my feet.
Yeah, if you were comfortable, you wouldn't be here. You would spin around. Now look what happens when he spins around. One leg is controlling both my legs. He has one leg free to do all kinds of stuff with. And, that can have an impact. When both legs are crossed there, that's telling me that the guy's not comfortable being in a submission situation, unfortunately. And it's still popular.
My goodness. Was this not educational, my friends?
And for those of you who said I don't have the credits of fighting, now I've been in this sport for 20 years.
He has.
But I did hurt my back in 2003, right before I came to Cage, and then ended my career plans of doing anything. So now I'm trying to teach other people.
So now you're teaching. Those who can't do, teach.
I'm just a losing coach, yeah.
Well, listen, folks, you guys are going to be able to see more of Lars tomorrow night when he works with the MMA H.E.A.T at UFC Sweden. And listen, folks, like I said, it's gonna be really fun. And if you guys are in Los Angeles, you can look him up at Fortune Gym. Look him up on WallinMMA.com. Is that right?
Yeah.
And it's WALLIN. It's Wallin.
Wallin MMA.se, not
.se.
.com, because he stole that from me.
Sorry.
But I want to say one more thing.
Wait, someone said he had orbital bone broken.
You had an orbital bone broken?
Yeah, I had a few bones broken in my body. Yeah,
Right.
but I want to say this.
Somebody knows you.
maybe the Swedish guys tomorrow will not be the show, the entertainers, the show artists coming in with the big gold chain and the Viking helmets and shit. I hope they won't. But they will put it on the line in the fights, and I hope you guys will respect that, because that's what they're training for. They're not necessarily clowns. They're there to actually fight, and that's what they do very well.
Great. Well, we're looking forward to it. So wait.
Watch the cat food.
Yeah.
It's actually dog food.
It's dog food. It's dog
But
food.
Little dog.
It's actually Karyn's food.
Yeah. No.
Hey.
No. I was
No.
making a bad joke. No, we're
No,
at
don't.
we're at our friend Stefan's house right now. But anyway, Lars, thank you, and you know, actually, truly, folks, the three of us are thinking of putting out some instructional DVDs.
Yes.
We might do something with you on that end.
So you can trash that later on.
You guys can all write bad comments.
Yeah, I'm not
on
gonna
that.
have some cool names for all the moves, but I can't come up with the cool names. But maybe the fans can.
I'm sure they can.
Hey, do you have any opinion on this, Lars?
I can't
no,
read.
No, don't
Never-
read
never-
that. Don't read it. No, that's nasty.
never
That's
mind.
nasty.
Yeah,
That's
that's-
nasty.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys. So thanks.
Whoever you are.
Thanks for watching now, and for sure, you know, tomorrow night he'll be working. Please check out the interviews that he does, and definitely, you know, in the meantime, make sure you watch the UFC
Sweden, go.
pre and post fight shows on Fuel TV, because
And
I'm working on that, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I want to say just one final thing. There's so much MMA going on around the world that I'm really happy that UFC is actually taking away from just being Ohio boys or you know,
Yeah.
because there's a world out there, and there's quality fighters in Germany, Norway, Finland, Sweden.
There's a Finnish guy
so
that
many
comes to
places.
my
Oh my God, Poland.
Yeah.
There's just bubbling everywhere, but they don't have a stage to showcase their stuff. So I'm really thankful to UFC for doing that.
And
This
the
is
other
necessary.
last thing you're supposed to say is how awesome I am.
No, but I said that already. You know.
Did you?
I give you my number. You know.
Mention we're gonna do this in LA.
Yes, Lars is teaching MMA live on YouTube. Would be awesome. What seriously, we will probably make a regular thing. Maybe we'll do it
Yeah.
like a Wednesday night thing at a
Yeah,
certain
be
time.
glad
We'll
to.
figure it
Once
out.
we get
but-
back to LA.
Yeah, we're gonna work it out. But
anyone who wants to come down and call me a bluff or who,
Yeah,
I'm not
no.
I'm not challenging anyone. But anyone who wants to come down and be friendly and train, I'm at Fortune Gym on Sunset Boulevard in LA,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna be there. If I didn't go for the big money. I'm not making big money. I'm not having 1,000 clubs. I didn't associate things. But I guarantee you I will help you. No matter what level you're on, I guarantee I will help you with something.
And if you can't do it in person, maybe we can find a way to do this over the net.
That's my hope. That's
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thanks for checking it out. Please don't go, dude. I'm so hungry.
Okay, one
You
more
don't
thing.
understand. You don't understand.
Can I just say something? The hardest working woman in MMA. Respect that, because to have the confidence as a woman who didn't know much about MMA when you started, who
Yeah, I
actually
learned.
studied, who learned a lot, came from boxing,
Yes.
and had the passion for it, and the patience to learn Brazilian. I mean Portuguese. Sorry, Brazilian. But I mean, there has to be respected. We can all. Otherwise, you're just gonna have a bunch of guys with the goatees and no hair. So be appreciative, because I appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Lars.
It's more fun that
Thank you, Lars.
Interview
Interview the what food delivery boy?
with that we can stay. We'll just order.
Smart.
No, Karyn has to be fed. It's very important.
Well, thanks. So maybe turns out maybe we'll be able to do a wrap up thing or something. But if not, we'll do something back in LA. So you
Yes.
guys, thanks for checking it out. Check out MMA Heat.
Thank you for being there.
Check out YouTube Karyn Bryant, YouTube MMA Heat, and definitely check out Fuel TV as well.
And don't be rude to me.
Yeah. Thanks, you guys.
You will.
See you later.
And
All right, food.